Hello everyone, it's Professor Kristl, and this is the third of our videos for our Property 1 class. And today we're going to talk about outlining. And I want to start because I actually have some props. These two black binders here, these are my actual outlines from law school. I know, you're probably thinking, that was over 25 years ago, you must be a real geek to hang on to those things. I admit it. I originally saved them because I thought, well, maybe it would help me as a reference in practice. I looked at them one time using that. But inertia kind of kept them on my shelf, and now, hey, they've survived and they can be a prop during this video. But I have 20 some odd outlines here from law school. From first year classes, yes, I do have my Property 1 and 2 outlines. But also all the way through my third year. And I viewed these as essential tools that help me to succeed in law school. So much so that when it came time for me to take the bar exam, I prepared another set of outlines for the bar. Each of the subject matters that would be covered in the bar, and then I actually created a summary outline of all the topics for the bar exam. So, law school, bar exam, and you know what? When I took the bar exam for Delaware in 2008, I created another set of outlines. So obviously, in addition to proving that I'm a geek, it also proves that I think outlining is very, very important. I know that outlining helped me do much better in law school, and that it continues to help me as I practice law in the clinic. And so I want to share with you some thoughts that I have about outlining and some suggestions about how to do it, because hopefully you can have the same level of success with outlines that will help you be a better student and ultimately a better lawyer. So let me clear out all these props and bring in our screen so that we can start talking about outlining. And I say outlining is map making for lawyers. All right? And why do I say that? Well, first of all, I think you ought to think of outlines as maps. Why? Well, because outlines do certain things, right? Maps and outlines summarize essential information. Okay? A map doesn't show you every single house and the names of all the people and stuff like that. It shows you a road, and it gives you information about that road, and you can see where it connects to other roads. That's what an outline does. It summarizes the essential information that you need about a particular subject that you are studying or practicing. All right? Secondly, outlines organize. They take information and they put it into a structure. And that organizational component is key if we want to ultimately be able to understand a concept or understand an area of the law. So we're taking essential information, we're organizing it into an organized logical structure, and then the outline, in a sense, is going to point the way for us. It tells us, once we've organized the essential information, how to analyze, how to think about a subject. Remember, we talked before about clients walking in and telling you a story, and you have to figure out what's going on. Well, in a sense, with an organized outline of the relevant legal concepts, you have the ability to see first what applies, what doesn't apply, and then to guide you through the analysis by saying, what are the elements, or what might be the defenses, or what are the exceptions to the rules that allow you to then be able to service your client well. So outlines, like maps, can get you essential information, organize it in a way that you can work with it, and then point you the way to the answer that you're going to want to have. All right. Well, that sounds like a pretty good thing. All right. Outlines, I think, show up both in practice and in law school. So let me talk first about practice. How does outline show up in practice? Well, I can tell you this. I've been practicing law for well over 25 years now, and every day I am using outlines to organize my thoughts and my arguments and the kinds of things that I want to be able to use as I'm litigating my clinic cases or analyzing how those cases should be done. Because outlines can help me to organize facts. If I have to take a mess of facts and create a way to explain to a judge in a brief, for example, what facts are important and why they are important, well, outlining it first helps me to organize those facts in a way that I can present them in the most persuasive way possible. Secondly, outlines obviously help us to organize our arguments. What's the best argument? What should I lead with? What should come second? What are the component parts of every argument? By outlining it, it forces me and forces any attorney to try to think of a way to put it all together, right? Organize your arguments. And then obviously it can help to organize your brief, right? The arguments are part of the brief, but when you think about it, you're presenting a factual argument, you're probably presenting a standard of review or what's the legal standard that applies, and then what are the various arguments and the subparts. It organizes your brief by organizing the facts and organizing your arguments, right? So that's a real concrete way that outlining continues to be relevant to someone who's been out of law school for a long time, right? But you might say, look, I'm not practicing law right now, I want to get through law school. So how does outlines help us when we're talking about law school, right? Well, outlines can be very, very helpful maps for you as a law student. All right, why? Well, first of all, outlines can help organize your information that you get in class, right? If you're hearing things in class, creating an outline forces you to think about that information and organize it. What's important, what's not? What should I include, what should I exclude? All right? So outlines help you to organize the information from class, and in so doing helps you better understand what happened in class, what's important, what's not. All right? Second, outlines are usually talked about because they help you prepare for the final exam. All right? And they can help you in a couple of different ways. I mean, obviously they organize it, but I think, and this is based on my own experience, that outlines are also helpful because they can have the effect of what I call burning information into your brain. And here's how it worked for me. When I hand wrote out my outlines, and I did it by handwriting with the exception of 2008 for the Delaware Bar exam, when I wrote by hand what I wanted to have in my outline, I found that that process helped me to remember the concepts I was writing to the point where when I sat in a final exam, I could recall the page. It was almost like this weird photographic memory experience where I could see the page and I knew what I had written down, and then I was able to access that information and utilize it when preparing an answer on an essay or something like that, or to answer a multiple choice, whatever it might be. Right? It helped to take that information and really put it into my memory in a way that was very helpful to me during the final exam. Now, interestingly, in 2008, when I took the Delaware Bar exam, I typed out my outlines, and I found that it was not as good of a recall for me as it was when I hand wrote. Now, listen, maybe that's my memory going bad, but I don't think so. I think that for me, as a person who is primarily a visual learner, it helped me a lot that I hand wrote out words, saw them on the page, so that that image became burned into my brain and I could recall it later on. So, outlining helps you prepare for the final exam. If nothing else, it organizes all that information and gives you something easier to study. But then ultimately, as a law student, you care about the big final exam, the bar exam. And obviously, outlining can help you to become better prepared for the bar exam itself. All right, well, wow. This outlining stuff sounds pretty good. So in part 2 of the video, let's talk about how we can use outlining to help us achieve success.